Have you ever wondered why some people do wrong things again and again, yet still seem to live happily? They lie, they cheat, they hurt others, but nothing seems to happen to them. Meanwhile, some kind people suffer quietly, even when they try their best to live honestly. This question has troubled human hearts for thousands of years. In Buddhist wisdom, karma is often misunderstood. Many people think karma is punishment. They imagine it as an invisible judge waiting to strike someone down. But karma is not revenge. Karma is cause and effect. It is the simple truth that every thought, every word, and every action plants a seed in the field of life. Some seeds grow quickly, others take years to appear. A kind word may bring peace immediately. A cruel action may seem hidden for a long time. But no seed disappears. It waits for the right conditions. And when the season comes, what was planted will begin to grow. This is a story about a man who forgot that truth. Long ago, in a busy town surrounded by green hills and golden rice fields, there lived a merchant named Darren. He was one of the richest men in the region. His house had carved wooden doors, his clothes were made of fine silk, and his storage rooms were filled with rice, spices, tea, and shining coins. People respected him when he walked through the market. They bowed their heads and called him a successful man. Young traders wanted to be like him. Poor villagers looked at his beautiful house and believed he must have been blessed by heaven. But behind his polite smile, Darren carried a secret no one knew. In his shop, he used a false scale. When customers bought rice, the scale showed more than it truly weighed. When farmers sold him goods, the scale showed less than they had brought. The difference was small, so almost no one noticed. But every small lie became another coin in his wooden chest. Day after day, he cheated poor farmers, tired travelers, widows, workers, and families who trusted him. He told himself it was only business. He said the world belonged to the clever, not the weak. At night, while counting his money, he often smiled and whispered, "No one knows. No one will ever know." But there was one thing Darren did not understand. Even when no human eyes are watching, the heart is watching. Every dishonest act leaves a mark inside us. At first, the mark is small, then it becomes a habit. Then the habit becomes a character, and character quietly becomes destiny. One dry afternoon, an old monk entered the market. His robe was faded, his feet were dusty, and he carried only a small wooden bowl. He stopped in front of Darren's shop and bowed gently. "Sir," the monk said, "may I have a little rice for my meal today?" Darren looked at him and laughed. "You monks are all the same," Darren said. "You walk around with empty bowls while other people work hard. If you want rice, earn it." The people nearby became silent. The monk did not argue. He only looked at Darren with calm eyes and said, "Gold can cover many things, but it cannot cover the truth inside the heart." Darren burst into laughter. "A few clever words cannot fool me, old man," he said. The monk smiled kindly, bowed once more, and quietly walked away. The marketplace soon returned to its usual noise, but for reasons Darren could not explain, those calm eyes stayed in his mind long after the monk had disappeared beyond the dusty road. Weeks passed, and business seemed better than ever. Merchants from distant villages arrived every morning. Coins filled the wooden chest faster than before. Darren believed his fortune would continue forever. He often stood on the balcony of his large home, looking over the town with pride, convinced that wealth alone proved he was wiser than everyone else. Then, without warning, small cracks began to appear. One trusted employee secretly stole a large bag of silver before disappearing during the night. A business partner refused to repay a debt and vanished into another province. Darren was furious. He blamed dishonest people, never realizing he was facing the same dishonesty he had shown others for years. Before he could recover those losses, another disaster arrived. A caravan carrying expensive silk and rare spices was caught in a violent storm while crossing the mountains. Heavy rain destroyed the goods, and the frightened horses scattered into the forest. Almost everything he had invested disappeared in a single night beneath dark clouds and cold rain. Darren became restless. He stopped sleeping peacefully. Every evening, he sat beside his treasure chest, counting what remained again and again. The more he counted, the more afraid he became of losing everything. Although he still owned more than most people in the town, he felt poorer with each passing day because fear had entered his heart. One rainy evening, while hurrying home through slippery stone streets, Darren lost his balance. He fell heavily, breaking his leg against the edge of a stair. The pain was unbearable. For many months, he could not walk without help. The proud merchant who once looked down on everyone now depended completely on the kindness of others. At first, he expected people to visit him with gifts and sympathy. After all, he believed he had always been respected. But the days passed in silence. Very few people came. Those who had once smiled politely in his shop simply continued walking past his house. Some even turned away when they saw his servants asking for assistance. Lying awake one night, Darren finally understood something that had never crossed his mind before. Money could buy beautiful furniture. It could buy servants, horses, and expensive clothes, but it could never buy trust. Trust had to be earned slowly through honesty, and he had traded it away for piles of gold that suddenly felt meaningless. As his body slowly healed, his mind grew heavier. Every face he remembered seemed connected to another lie, another dishonest trade, another family that had unknowingly paid the price for his greed. The words of the old monk returned again and again like an echo inside his heart. Gold cannot cover the truth inside the heart. One quiet morning, leaning on a wooden cane, Darren left his mansion and walked toward the temple outside the town. The journey was slow and painful, but something inside him refused to turn back. Deep in his heart, he knew he was no longer searching for answers about money. He was searching for peace that wealth had never given him. When Darren arrived at the temple, he saw the same old monk quietly sweeping fallen leaves beneath a large Bodhi tree. Nothing about the monk had changed. His robe was still worn, his face still peaceful, and his movements still slow and gentle. Darren lowered his head and whispered, "Master, I have come because I no longer understand my own life." The monk rested his broom against the tree and invited Darren to sit beside him. For several minutes, neither of them spoke. Only the sound of birds and the wind moving through the leaves filled the silence. Finally, Darren asked, "Is this my punishment? Has karma come to destroy everything I built?" The old monk smiled softly. "No," he replied. "Karma does not punish anyone. It simply follows every action as naturally as a shadow follows the body. When you plant a mango seed, a mango tree grows. The tree is not punishing you. It is only becoming what the seed was always meant to become." Darren remained silent. The monk continued, "Every greedy thought plants one kind of seed. Every kind act plants another. Some grow quickly, others wait for years. But every seed is patient. It never forgets the hand that planted it. That is why no one can truly escape their own actions." Tears slowly filled Darren's eyes. For the first time, he stopped blaming bad luck, dishonest partners, or cruel fate. He remembered every false scale, every lie, every customer he had cheated. The greatest pain was no longer the money he had lost. It was realizing the kind of man he had become. "Can I change my karma?" Darren asked with a trembling voice. The monk looked toward the sunrise and answered gently, "You cannot change yesterday. The seeds you planted will always exist. But today, at this very moment, you are holding new seeds in your hands. What you plant now will become your tomorrow." Those words changed Darren forever. He returned home and gathered every false scale he owned. One by one, he broke them with a hammer until nothing remained. His servants watched in silence, unable to understand why the richest merchant in town was destroying the very tools that had helped build his fortune. During the following weeks, Darren opened his old account books. Whenever he could find someone he had cheated, he returned their money with a sincere apology. Some people accepted, some refused to forgive him. Others had already passed away. For them, Darren quietly donated food, clothing, and medicine to the poor in their memory. The people of the town did not trust him at first. Rumors spread quickly. Many believed his kindness was only another trick. But Darren never argued. He never defended himself. Every day, he simply continued doing honest business, treating every customer with fairness, patience, and respect, expecting nothing in return. Months became years. Slowly, something remarkable happened. Customers returned, not because his prices were lower, but because his word could finally be trusted. The merchant who had once measured life by the weight of gold now measured it by the peace inside his heart. He smiled more, slept better, and no longer feared losing what he owned. One autumn evening, Darren returned to the temple. The old monk was once again sweeping fallen leaves beneath the Bodhi tree. Darren bowed deeply and said, "Master, I finally understand. The greatest punishment was never losing my wealth. It was living every day with a dishonest heart." The monk nodded with a gentle smile. "And the greatest reward," he said, "is not becoming rich again. It is being able to close your eyes each night without fear, without regret, and without hiding from your own conscience. That peace is worth more than all the gold in the world." As the sun disappeared behind the mountains, Darren quietly watched the sky turn shades of orange and gold. He realized that karma had never been his enemy. It had simply been his teacher. The suffering he experienced had shown him the truth that success built on deception can never bring lasting happiness. Perhaps karma is not a mysterious force waiting to judge us. Perhaps it is simply life reflecting the seeds we choose to plant each day. Every act of kindness becomes the beginning of peace. Every act of greed becomes the beginning of suffering. The choice has always been ours. So before you speak your next word, before you make your next decision, ask yourself one simple question. What kind of future am I planting today? Because whether we believe it or not, every seed eventually finds its season, and every action, good or bad, quietly returns to the one who first set it in motion.